Before we get any more trouble, Office of Planning, efforts to move forward on the mayor's draft amendments to the city's comprehensive plan framework element. Is this you, Ann?
I thought I would just mention that briefly. We've been getting emails from the Office of Planning. They have a new director, Andrew Trueblood, who is excellent. But he's asking people to fill out a survey online, DC2 for me.
Yep, DC2b.
DC2me, digit 2. Talking about the values that were included in the draft for the comprehensive plan. It's not a terribly deep survey, if I may say. They're trying to build support for this initiative. They also had a training session for ANC members. Not very many of them went because it coincided with the livability study meeting. But they did a great job presenting what the Office of Planning does and what the comprehensive plan is, and are continuing to try to push through what they call the framework element, the first 60 pages that the mayor put out January 2018, without going through the required comment period for the public and ANCs to express their views or even have an idea what the proposed amendments were.
And I think Phil Mendelson only got it about 10 days ago. So the council just started us.
So the chairman was pretty hard-nosed about it, and he just shut off the debate last year. We're talking about March 2018. He now has 2 planners working in his office trying to develop rewording for this framework element, the 60 pages. One of the key issues is housing, affordable housing. Many of the amendments came straight from the developers, and they were going to make it, as far as I could tell, far easier for the developers to get their proposals put through, which often are primarily luxury housing or office. And we're really giving short shrift to affordable housing, particularly the lower levels, extremely affordable housing. And the affordable housing advocates were pointing out this is a major problem. The city is facing even more challenges with affordable housing. We cannot have the comp plan be amended just to allow continued development of luxury buildings while advocates for affordable housing have fewer tools to try to oppose that kind of development. So I don't know what the chairman is going to come out with. He was hoping to have something this summer. And meanwhile, I think as Mary said, the Office of Planning, the staff has been going through the pages and pages of chapters to try to adjust it to match what they put in the 60-page framework element. When I talked to the director of planning, and I said, you're so far behind now in your cycle, you're 4 years already behind schedule. Couldn't you just start over? Because you already are due for another rewrite. And he said, honestly, no one else was listening. That's what I would do if it were up to me, because it's such a small. But he may not have the latitude, and I don't know whether anyone else would push for that. But anyway.
So this stands in the council's court, and we'll just stay tuned.
And he promised, Andrew Trueblood promised that whatever they come out with will go to the ANCs. They will have a 60-day comment period. Some of the ANCs raised their hands and said, you know, that's a little tight for us because we only have monthly meetings. He said he would even be willing to stretch the timetable. But if you look at the calendar and the time that they want to finish it, there are enough months in the year to allow for 90-day comment, and plus all of this other council review and sharing the drafts, as Mary said. So I don't know if you're making any predictions, but hang on, stay tuned.
The ANC should definitely, I would urge the ANC to ask for an extension. A written ask.
Like a 3-year extension?
Yeah, minimum.
All right.
He might find some sympathy.
All right, and then we had one other item on the agenda, which was an update on a meeting from last May. Was May 6th?
This May, yeah.
Yes.
It was called the Fair Housing, and the mayor's office has hired a group of persons who are looking at fair housing in the District of Columbia, especially from the point of view of the federal government and the high requirements. So this fair housing meeting was very interesting. There were many people there who were also renters who were living in Sedgwick Gardens and were affected by some of the stuff that's happened. One of the things that the fair housing people were telling us that, and I agree with, there can be no discrimination in housing. There just can't be. And then they listed all of the reasons and all of the categories, which I totally agree with. But then they came up with someone during the meeting, and this was their basic line. I mean, they went through all the legislation and all that, which was very interesting, but it was what people were there wanting to know is, well, what do we do? How do we implement this? What is our responsibility? And so there were many residents from Sedgwick Gardens apartments there, and they were very concerned, and one of the women asked, well, what are our rights? Because if we have to give all these rights, which is correct, what about the rights of those of us who are already living in these apartments? And the gentleman said, well, you have no rights. And, I mean, I'm a long-time housing advocate, and I thought to myself, well, we have one right, which is our contract. It's called the lease. And in that lease, it says we are entitled to the quiet enjoyment of our apartments. And that's the management's responsibility to provide that. So the gentleman was not too happy with my response because it kind of put the kibosh on what he was saying. But it's true, there has to be a balance. And then shortly after that, I attended a meeting at the Office of the Tenant Advocate. And at that meeting, it was introduced that Washington, D.C., with other cities, are entering into a new social engineering project, housing project. I agree with it to some extent. It says that in order for people to get out of poverty and their poverty-stricken areas, they need to be lifted out of those areas and put in more affluent areas of the city. And so in my building, I've seen a really huge uptick of people who are wonderful folks, voucher people with vouchers, who are filling up the building that I live in because students leave this time of year. And so the management company knows that all those apartments don't become available. So I have seen in my building an uptick, a pretty strong uptick. Nice people, a little bit socially inept, and I would like to find out what we can do to help them to feel welcome and to make them feel like they're at home, they belong in the neighborhood. This is their new home. This is where we have to help everybody to learn how to get together. That's a little bit tough at times. Then I heard that if there are going to be 20 units in a building that are going to be for housing voucher folks, that there needs to be on-site medical legal. That is not absolutely correct as formulated. There is a bill that is being promulgated now, which says slightly different things. It gives the mayor a lot of leeway to enforce or not enforce. It's called On-Site Services Act of 2019. And in it, it says if there are 20 or more units in a building and that 30% of them are occupied by voucher folks, then they need to have these folks on site to help, I guess, help these folks to integrate into the rest of the community. So this is what's going on in housing right now as part of fair housing. As I said, I agree to it for the most part. I have some reservations as to how it's actually going to work and how it's going to be. It's going to help everyone to be integrated and live together as a community. And that's what's going on in housing.
Thank you.